Yo, what is going on everyone? It is Reeves, and welcome back to another video. Today is just a little bit of a guide for newer players who want to play Survivor. I know I've done pretty much all killer stuff so far, and I like Survivor, so I'm just gonna go over some of the things or some of the characters I would level up if I'm new to the game. So, when you start brand new in the game, you have Dwight, Meg, Claudette, Jake, Nia, Bill, and David. I think for console, you also get Ace and Fang Min. But I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure you do. Or no, yeah, no, it is Ace and Fang. But yeah. So thankfully, for new survivors of the game, a lot of the really good, strong perks are on the main survivors. But if we are talking about teachables, the first one I would level up is Meg, and that is because of her teachable Sprint Burst and Adrenaline and Quick and Quiet. Sprint Burst is definitely like one of the strongest perks in the game for Survivor. This lets you get out of dead zones, or if you're against a stealth killer, it gets you out of it. It's basically a get out of jail free card against those kind of killers. This perk lets you get out of dead zones really easy. Gets a lot of distance on killers. You can walk around with something like fixated, or what is that? What was that perk remade into? What was it? What was it called? What is this perk called? Okay, dang it, they didn't even have the name of it. I don't even remember the name of the perk. They renamed this. It used to be fixated. Oh, I think it's called self-aware. Yeah, self-aware. If you pair Sprint Burst with self-aware, and you're just walking around 20% faster, you can save Sprint Burst really easy and still be efficient with it. But yeah, all three of Meg's perks are really good. Less so Quick and Quiet. This is more so like a meme fun perk, but it is still really good if you're new. A lot of killers don't know that you have this perk. Basically, when you fast vault into a locker or over a window or over a pallet, you don't make any noise. They don't get a notification. They don't make noise. Your character doesn't make noise. It only procs every 30 seconds, but it's really good. I think at max strength this goes up down to 20 seconds. But yeah. All of Meg's perks are really good. Even Adrenaline. Basically, when all the exit gates are powered, you gain the Sprint Burst effect for 5 seconds instead of 3 seconds like Sprint Burst is. And if you're injured, you heal. And if you're on the ground, then you get picked up and put in the injured state. Just an all-around really solid character to level up. Next, I would recommend Bill. And he has two insanely meta-defying perks, with Borrowed Time probably being one of the most important perks for Survivor right now. This perk allows you to unhook your teammates if they are being camped, and they will not get tunneled. It doesn't protect you, but it will protect your teammate, and that's kind of what you want to do when you're playing Survivor. You're part of a team. You gotta. If someone's being tunneled, this perk will save their life. Left Behind's kind of bad. Don't run this. But Unbreakable is also another extremely strong perk. This perk lets you recover faster, and it also allows you to pick yourself up once per trial. And now, once per trial might seem weak, but my god, this perk will sometimes win you games. And I have lost countless games to Unbreakable as killer, and I've won countless games as Survivor because of Unbreakable. It is an insanely strong perk. Every killer has to think of this perk, and every time you're against a killer and they're slugging, they are scared that one survivor has this perk, because this perk can ruin a killer's game. It is so insanely good, and yeah, definitely recommend grabbing that. Yeah, and then next, I would definitely level David. David has two really good perks. One of them meta defining. This is probably the okay. people say Sprint Burst is the strongest exhaustion perk. I will die before I admit that Sprint Burst is stronger than Dead Hard, because Dead Hard is so unbelievably frustrating to play against. This perk, if used correctly, has 0 counterplay and very little drawbacks. And my god, this perk is so broken. Basically, it gives you a short dash on command, and you are immune while you're dashing. And people complain, or people are like, well, just wait out the Dead Hard. You can't sometimes. It's literally impossible. If you wait too long, they can Dead Hard to the pallet. If you don't swing, if you swing at the wrong time, they can use it, and then you just miss. This perk is completely broken. Easily one of the strongest survivor perks in the game, if not the most. I'd say like top 3 at least, easily. I don't know if it's stronger than Circle of Healing, but yeah, definitely broken. Yeah, No Mither is a meme perk, don't use it. And We're Gonna Live Forever is really good for gaining blood points. You could always start with David. I just recommended Meg because she does have really noob friendly perks, but We're Gonna Live Forever could give you some early game blood points if you're trying to get points. Basically, this works similar to Barbecue and Chili, where you gain stacks. They give you 25% extra blood points post trial per stack. Goes up to 4 stacks at max rank. You get stacks by taking protection hits, safely unhooking a survivor. I think that's it. I guess we could just read it. Rescuing, pallet stunning a killer when a survivor's in the arms, or by flashlight blinding. You also get a stack. On top of it actually having a really strong effect, for a while this perk did nothing other than give you blood points, but they added a heal boost, or a heal increased healing speed to survivors who are on the floor, so you can actually pick survivors up off the floor extremely fast because of this perk. Really good perk, especially for new players. Gives you a lot of blood points. Helps you pick people up off the ground if they're being slugged. It can ruin a killer who's slugging his game. Very strong perk. Dead Hard, meta defining, completely broken perk. No Mither, garbage. Probably one of the worst perks in the game. Next up, Dwight has some really sick teachables, along with Jake. These two, again, they both have really, like 1 or 2 really good perks. Dwight Leader is kind of bad, but Prove Thyself is extremely strong. This is another one of those extremely strong perks. Basically, this perk makes it so any of the if you're doing a survivor or doing a generator with a survivor, they repair generators 15% faster, and you get extra blood points for it. So it's really good for gaining extra blood points in the objective category. I think it also just works for co-op actions in general. You gain 50% more blood points for co-op actions. I think this goes up to 100%, so you basically just get double blood points for if you do stuff, like if you heal someone, you do a generator, blah 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 blah, you gain extra points. So it's more so just like gaining more altruism and gaining more objective, mostly objective. Gives your ally 50% repair speed, so you guys can get a gen done extremely fast with this perk. This perk is extremely strong. Really underrated. I hate seeing this perk in any survivor build. Any survivor build where I see this perk, I'm like, damn, how much time did this save the survivor from doing a generator? And it is really good. Bond's another really nice perk for new players. If you don't have self-care from Claudette, or you don't have a med kit, you can use Bond to find a teammate to heal you, or you find your injured teammates so they aren't just running around dying. And then Jake, Calm Spirit's definitely bad. I wouldn't recommend leveling Jake for Calm Spirit, but Sabo's like a half decent perk. If used correctly, it can be extremely frustrating for killers. And then Iron Will, another meta-defining perk. This is one of my favorite perks to use on Survivor. This perk is extremely strong against killers like Spirit and Blight and Nurse, because they can't hear. Basically, when you're injured, you do not make any injured noises when this perk is tier 3. And it is extremely frustrating to play against as killer, and it's extremely good as Survivor having this perk equipped. Oh, it is so good. Good for so long, and would definitely recommend getting Iron Will. Just having the killer not have one of the most important pieces of information, which is sound, is so good, especially when you go against killers like the Spirit and the Nurse, where they rely heavily on sound. Nurse needs to be able to blink through walls precisely, and Spirit needs to be able to hear survivors so she can track them with her ability. Those are just two killers, but it really does work on pretty much every killer. It works against every killer. Like, if you're just if you're just trying to hide and you're injured, this perk will save your life guaranteed. And after that, some of the other survivors have good perks. Unfortunately, for the last couple years, there hasn't been anything too meta-defining out of the Survivor perk pool. A lot of the ones that were really good kind of got nerfed, like Metal Man from Ash, but there are other really good perks on other survivors, and I'm going to show you. If you need to buy a DLC, if you have money to buy a DLC and you want to buy a DLC Survivor, Laurie Strode is probably your girl. This perk right here, another meta-defining perk, easily one top 3. If you want my opinion, I think Boon Circle of Healing is the strongest Survivor perk in the game. Then Dead Hard, then Decisive Strike, and I would argue that Circle of Healing and Decisive Strike could be interchanged. I think Decisive Strike could still be considered one of the best Survivor perk, in my opinion. The amount of time this wastes for the killer to tunnel you, this is an anti-tunnel perk, but you can also force a killer sometimes if they lose track of you or anything like that. If you get unhooked for the next max rank, it's 60 seconds. If you get picked up by the killer, you'll get a skill check, and if you land that skill check, you will stun the killer for 5 seconds, and you will get off their shoulder. And this perk is extremely frustrating to play against, especially when survivors force you to eat it, such as getting in a locker while you're in a chase with them. Even if you're not even tunneling someone, you could unhook the rescuer, or you could chase the rescuer, and the survivor that got unhooked will just hop in a locker in front of you, and you're like, what the heck is this guy doing? You grab him and you're stunned. But obviously, if you know that the survivor likely has it, you can play around it. But a lot of killers don't. They will just pick you up, and this perk will piss them off indefinitely. Really strong perk, definitely meta defining. People literally have to play around this perk because this perk will win survivors games 100%. This perk is completely broken, but for good reason, in my opinion. It is definitely kind of a necessary evil right now, but to say this is weak is, and obviously some games this won't go off, but killers will have to play around this perk no matter what. So even if it's such a meta defining perk, it's similar to Dead Hard and it's similar to Borrow Time, where killers, if you are not running either of those perks, the killer has to play around them, because so many survivors run that perk. I think that's kind of a thing that most people don't realize about these perks, is killers have to play around these perks even if you do not have them, because they will, if you force it, or if you do have it, they will lose the game off of it. And if they don't play around it, they could lose the game off it. And if they play around it, they have a higher chance of winning. But if you don't have them, then you still get value out of a perk you don't even have equipped. That's how strong this perk is. It is ridiculous. Yeah, no, definitely Decisive Strike for DLC Survivor perks. And then for other DLC Survivor perks, probably Michaela, man. Circle of Healing in its current state is arguably the strongest perk in the game. Not even close, in my opinion, to other perks in terms of strength. This perk, you bless a dull totem, and any survivor within the range of it can self-care, and they pretty much get the self-care teachable for free, your whole team, and they heal faster than normal self-care. Yeah, this perk is absolutely broken. Would definitely recommend grabbing this if you want another DLC survivor. Other than that, there aren't too many other meta-defining perks or any perks that really stand out. There are a bunch of fun ones. If you want a fun perk that is actually quite strong but isn't like meta-defining, Head-On is an extremely fun perk. Basically, if you are in a locker for 3 seconds and the survivors were like right in front of it, you can fast vault out of it and it'll stun the killer. Extremely fun. Extremely broken when compared, what is the word I'm looking for? When combined with Decisive Strike, you could hop in a locker, and then the killer pulls you out, you Decisive Strike them, you stun them for 5 seconds, hop in a locker, and then once their stun's over, you stun them again. It 8 seconds seems like not a lot, but then you also have to factor in that like you gain distance from the stun that this perk gives, and it can, so it's basically 8 seconds of the killer opening. It's even longer than that. They have to open the locker. They have to put you on their back, get to hit the skill check to get stunned. They have to wait out the thingy, and then you stun them again, and you get distance. This perk can, like, that combination can add up to basically 15 seconds base, and then plus whatever distance you gain off of it. And if you do, you get to a good loop, it's really strong. Yeah. Other good perks that aren't really like broken but are pretty good is Lithe from Fingmin. Lithe is basically a sprint burst you can activate the way you want it to. You just have to fast vault through a window and you get the sprint burst. Alert's a cool perk. Definitely not like anything super strong, but it's a good perk for learning. But yeah. Other than that, there's not too many other survivor perks that are amazing. Nia has balance landing. Just trying to think if there's any other perks. Soul Guard's decent from Cheryl. Yeah, I think everything else is kind of meh in comparison, which is kind of sad to say comparatively to killers. But when survivors get really strong tools, they become really oppressive. So yeah, definitely would recommend those survivors to level up. So TLDR, Meg or David first, then Bill. Dwight and Jake, really strong perks. Then Lori. Those are probably like your top priority to get all of the strongest perks in the game pretty much immediately for yourself and your team. And then Michaela, and then whatever else you want from whatever other survivor you want. Like I said, there's not too many other survivors that have extremely broken perks other than those guys. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Thanks everyone for hanging out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. Feel free to like and subscribe. Definitely love to have you guys around. And yeah, I'll talk to you games later.